What's it like to walk a mile in Oprah's shoes? Our next guest knows, and she even bought the shoes to prove it. Her new book, Living Oprah, My One-Year Experiment to Walk the Walk of the Queen of Talk, chronicles her experience living every aspect of her life according to directions from Oprah. And the results of her experiment may surprise you. Joining us is the book's author and Chicago resident, Robin Okrant, also known as LO on her popular blog site. Robin, welcome to Chicago Tonight.
Hi, thanks.
First of all, why would anyone want to do this? Why did you decide to do this?
Well, you know what? Women are just bombarded from all directions about what we're supposed to look like, what our happiness is supposed to, how our happiness is supposed to appear, what our relationships are supposed to be. And I thought of all people in the media, Oprah Winfrey is the one giving us the most advice. She's the most influential on women. And I thought, well, who's putting it to the test? A lot of us are judging ourselves against it, but why doesn't one of us play crash test dummy? And I played the dummy.
Yeah, but you just point out, she has tips on relationships, on fashion, on spirituality, on diet, on consumerism, on music, all that stuff.
Yeah.
How did you decide which of her tips to follow?
I didn't. I actually did everything. So on her show,
whatever
in
she
her
said,
magazine,
you would do.
Everything, absolutely. Yeah, no picking and choosing.
So give us an example of the kinds of things that you wound up doing that you wouldn't have done on your own, trying to follow the Oprah's precepts.
Ideals. Well, one thing that was tough for me was Oprah says you have to savor every meal you eat, and I eat like an industrial vacuum normally. So I had to sit and eat slowly, and that was a good one for me. But I had to buy a panini maker. I had to buy 10 things every woman is supposed to have in her closet.
What are some of the 10 things every woman's supposed to have?
You are supposed to have a pair of leopard print flats. You're supposed to have a black dress you can wear anywhere. You're supposed to have a pair of white jeans, a white denim jacket, black turtleneck, white turtleneck.
You got all that stuff.
I did. I didn't have any of it. I had one or two things before, but yeah, no, I had to go out and buy it.
And you were telling me before we went on camera that the dress you're wearing now is a dress that you would not have bought but for Oprah.
No, but it was in Oprah's magazine, yeah. And I actually found it at a discount store, so I'm very proud of myself.
Well, okay, so you're buying the dresses, you're buying the books,
right?
You're going to the movies,
right? You're
buying the panini makers,
right?
How much money did you spend?
I spent just under $5,000. So, it could have been more if I paid full price, but I think I did pretty well. The issue, I think, wasn't so much the money, it was the time. My time just flew out the window doing all of this. And, I don't think actually Oprah wants us to do every tiny little piece of her advice, certainly, but I do wonder how many of us do lose a lot of time to, just listening to talk shows, looking at magazines, and just going and doing without asking questions.
Robin, I looked at you have logs for every month, which are really interesting, which outline how much time you spent doing what. Give me an example of what a typical day following an Oprah schedule is like. Okay,
so there was one day, a couple weeks, I think, in a row where I had to wake up and I actually had to start breathing in a certain way. I had to take
start
slow.
breathing in a certain way?
Yeah. So kicked right off the bat. And I'd watch her show in the morning and tape the show and take copious notes on the show. And if there's something I had to do in that instant, if she said, run out to Lowe's and buy a fire pit, I had to go right out and buy a fire pit.
Did you really? You bought a fire pit?
I did, and I live in a small Chicago apartment with no backyard, so the fire pit is actually in my apartment, and my cats love it. They run around in circles inside of it.
Okay, but continue with your narrative.
Yes.
After you bought the fire pit that day, what did you do?
I did a Best Life Challenge exercise. So
what is that?
I had to sign a contract at the beginning of the year saying I was going to exercise a certain amount and diet in a certain way, and so I had to eat no emotional eating, only healthy eating, and maybe I would have to do some shopping, I'd have to do some reading, I'd have to meditate. The list went on and on. I looked to Oprah's website as a sort of encyclopedia for daily living. So if my husband and I got into an argument, I would go to her website on conflict resolution. And
did you have an argument over the course of the year that you lived Oprah?
Yeah. There's something about spending your entire, spending all your days living according to Oprah Winfrey that might cause a few arguments. Let's say.
Hard to imagine.
I know, it's shocking.
But when you did have the argument, did you go to the Oprah guidelines? And were they helpful in resolving this dispute? Well,
we ended up laughing a lot, actually, because
that helps.
Yeah, absolutely, it lightened the mood completely. And stopping an argument in full swing and going, to the internet and looking stuff up online sure stops the momentum. So yeah, it helped us.
Was there something that you did that you wound up really liking that you didn't necessarily think you might like?
Right. Well, a couple things. First, actually, is this hands-on philanthropy. So I didn't necessarily not think I wouldn't like to put my time and energy into charity, but I always wrote checks before, you know, but I'm a yoga teacher. We don't make a huge fortune. So $10 here, $20 here when I could, but I never felt like I was making a difference. But Oprah encourages us to put our time and energy into causes we really believe in. And so I organized book drives, and that meant a lot to me, and I'm going to continue doing that.
Did Oprah know about you personally?
I think so, yes. They had given a quote to, I had done some media last year, and they gave a quote saying that I think it was that I take brand dedication to a new level. And they also sent me a Kindle. Oprah sent me a Kindle. So it's her favorite gadget.
Or her people, or who knows?
No, it's probably her people, but she signed a note.
Oh, she did?
Which is really handy for me, because she also said you have to frame important notes. So I put her note in a frame, so it's really convenient.
But you didn't keep the Kindle.
I couldn't. I wanted to, because I love toys and I like free things. But no, I felt like, you know, it sort of ruined my integrity to take this really expensive gift from someone who I was studying and trying to be journalistic about, neutral about.
Did doing this experiment change you in any way that continues to this day?
Yeah.
Because you did this in 2008.
Right.
The full year of 2008.
Right. And I'll tell you, I thought I wasn't susceptible to this. You know, I thought I was going to sort of be able to step outside and watch myself do the project. But the truth was, by the end, it didn't bother me that I wasn't marching to the beat of my own drummer anymore. It got really comfortable to live this risk-free life. And that scared me a little bit, to, you know, I didn't have to make my own choices. You know, I wasn't accountable. And, you know, once the year was over, I realized that I had that in me. And so I'm trying to kind of take my own power back, if you will.
You have said that after immersing yourself in Oprah for a year, that you, that it has given you some new insights into what makes her so popular. What are some of those insights you gained?
Well, you know, I got a lot of emails from people during the year when I kept this blog, and so people emailed me throughout the year. And one thing that her biggest fans say, they think of her as their BFF, their best friend forever. You know, she's very warm, she's very inviting, and she tells you about her troubles too. And so they think of her as a real person that they can relate to.
Robin Okrant, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
And again, the name of the book is My 1 Year Experiment to Walk the Walk of the Queen of Talk, Living Oprah.